What's up, YouTube? I want to do a quick video. Something I would tell anyone, something I believe everyone probably should have investment-wise. But it is important to know that before we get off here, I'm not a financial advisor, even if I was. This is not a conversation I would ever, like, this is, what I'm going to talk about in today's video is more of a, let me get on the track to I should be searching that. I don't have any investments. This is a good place to start. What I believe is a good place to start. Start your research, start going down. If you're going to talk to a financial advisor, get you in the right path. There's definitely a lot of BS out there in the markets, and trading has become more accessible than ever. Well, sorry, not even trading, access to the markets. You have your phone, bank account, inside one day, you bought your first stock. You can buy a stock in under an hour. So now that everyone has, we've seen a lot of losers just pile into the market and think it's a gamble, never doing it again. But you've also heard things like from like Graham Stephan, how he buys, I think he buys VOO or VTI. I like SPY. I guess we can touch base on that. Like which one do you do? And this is not for trading, right? If we're looking at time frames on these charts, by the way, this is the one. Every one of these candles is one day. Kind of just to zoom out and give you a whole picture of where we're going. Obviously, we're headed down before we were headed up. Like that. We're not worried about this as investors yet. And one thing we should, I think, Dave Ramsey, he should be on the broad market funds. So what we're going to look at today are some ETFs, right? They take your money and it's spread out in things. I'm going to talk about some three popular, I guess technically four popular ones, but also why I don't invest in them. Give me 1 second. I took some notes, but I didn't bring them up. I'll just say them out loud. It's not entirely too important. All right. Let's roll. Okay, so I could probably do a deep dive into this on how to invest, but you've heard dollar cost average. Something everyone, I think, should be doing is you have your finances, right? So your bills are getting paid, you have a house, you have food, okay? Pay your bills. First of all, if you ever want to buy a house or get anywhere in this world, you have to pay your bills, you have to pay them on time. Let's get that structured. Now that you have all of that settled, assuming you have all of that accounted for, you got a couple extra bucks. I know some of you guys really like to party on the weekends, like to do everything. You're not going to be a millionaire by saving $5 a day from Starbucks. In fact, it'll take a while, but you can certainly help. You can have a nice, you can pay some taxes, go on a vacation in a few years. You could set this up for retirement. Ultimately, what I want you guys to focus on, this is for anybody, is at least a foundation. I need to be in some kind of investing. Name one rich person right now that does not own real estate or stocks. It's just not out there. You might find the Justin Bieber of something. I don't know why he wouldn't be invested in anything like that, but maybe he got rich. He just hit the ground running. Sometimes you can be in the right place at the right time, but I'm not talking about the one-offs. I'm talking about the people that know nothing. Because to me, it's absurd that you don't have any investments at all. If you have a savings account, just know that with inflation, you're losing money every year. So even that's just silly. So let's find a dollar amount that you will never care about. It might as well be Starbucks every day. Why don't you cut back on the monsters? It's a personal one for me. I hate to admit it, I did cut back on them personally, and I coincidentally, all right, the anxiety slowed down a little bit. I'm not giving up yet, but they're on to something. But I bet if you were to just put pen to paper, go through your bills, and figure out how much, you'll probably find a lot of crap, I'll put it that way. There's gym memberships you probably aren't subscribed to. First of all, I don't care how cheap Planet Fitness is. If you're not going, cancel it, do some push-ups. Let's start with some regular body weight stuff. Get rid of the gym membership if you're not using it. I do want to promote a healthy lifestyle. There's subscriptions. There's just a whole bunch of stuff you could probably get rid of and use that same amount of money. And so dollar cost averaging is just like a drip in a bucket. You just want a constant drip. Don't just put money in the market and assume bills are about to get paid, right? That's just not going to happen. You need to have a constant income of something going into this, and then that's what's going to grow. You've all heard it, Warren Buffett. We're talking about compound interest, and things do grow over time. It's going to take time. The more you have, the merrier. But you probably don't have a stack of cash laying around. If you do, I would even then still dump that, put it into a fund. So the popular one, actually, let's talk about SPY, the one that I like. So this is one that I like. Now, as a trader, I'm watching this one quite a bit. But there's SPY, and then there's VOO. Now, they're both watching the S&P 500. That's the top 500 companies. Now, they're also weighted. So the bigger the company, the more weight it has. These are the notes that I actually took. Apple's like 6.5%, Microsoft 6%, Google 4%, Amazon just shy of 3%, Tesla almost 2% of the whole S&P. So if you put your $100 in there, you got $6.50 towards Apple, $6 towards Microsoft, $4 towards Google, $3 towards Amazon, $2 towards Tesla, and then the rest is divided out even smaller. Just to touch base, the reason why I don't like SPY is because the top 5 companies are responsible for 50% of the growth you've seen. So I don't care. I really don't. Past the top 10, I don't care about the other 490. Now, this is me personally. But I also watch stocks. I pick stocks. I have individual stocks, which Dave Ramsey says don't, just invest in these funds. And I have to agree. If you don't know what you're doing, you're not going to put in the time, you don't care, that's fine. Like, it's just not for you. Some people aren't passionate about it. They don't like it. They don't want it. And picking stocks, I remember when I was new, I used to pick stocks like Starbucks, Apple. Now, those are actually pretty awesome companies, but I picked them because there was a long line outside. I did stupid stuff like that, like, oh, a new iPhone's coming out, I better buy that stock. That's probably one of the dumbest reasons to buy a stock. That's just honestly, it's just not how things work. I can't stand when people do that. It reminds me, because I said that when I was a kid, and when I got like a literal kid, when I was like 5 or 6, kindergarten, what'd you want to be when you grew up? I knew it was stocks and real estate. I knew sales. People wanted to sell things. I thought big stuff. I'm going to sell homes and buildings. And I already knew about the stock market. So, I don't know. Anyway, that's the things I said. I finally got a hold of it. It's like, that's what I'm going to do. And luckily, I was in a bull market, so it worked out. It just doesn't work all the time. I just got lucky. Picking individual stocks, actually rather difficult. You really got to know what you're doing. It takes time. Again, if you're not going to do that, it's fine. Check these ETFs out. ETFs are just a pool. You're going to give them your money, and they're going to invest in all these companies. It's like a whole little basket. I want that Easter basket. It's like the pre-made ones. You're going to go through. You can go up to the candy aisle. You can buy individual candies or buy that pre-made Easter basket. It's the best analogy I can give you. Now we got SPY and VOO. It's another one that tracks, and I'm just going to overlay it. Let's just overlay VOO. I was already looking it up, but I want to do the two because they look so similar. Let's actually change this to a line. There. So orange is VOO. So it got a little bit higher for a second, came back down. You can't even tell the difference. I believe as far as VOO goes, it's like 0.1 or 0.01 more in the small cap, which we'll get into small cap stuff too. But as far as these go, now the expense ratio is different. So if you've got I think it's $100,000 in there, to hold it for the year, SPY is going to cost you $90 in fees. VO is going to cost you $30 for $100,000. I'm not going to fight you on either one of these. Pick one and just make it happen. They do pay a dividend. Let's get this out of here. So every quarter, for every share you have, you get $1.58. Now that's free money. It is a taxable event, but if you have one share in here and it stays flat, just know that every quarter you can get $1.58. Boom, right on top. That's one of the we already went over compound interest. That's what's going to affect your growth over time. So the more you have, the more you're gonna get $1.58 for one share. Right now you bump that up to 10 shares. Now it's $15.80. So you can see how this goes on. There's something you can turn on in your settings called DRIP. That's Dividend Reinvestment Program. It's going to turn those. So instead of just collecting the $15, some people live off dividends. You've heard of people doing that. They just mail you the check, or they'll deposit the money in your account. Dividend reinvestment will actually just buy a fractional share. Sorry, I'm in the way. I just realized that. So $1.58. So, that being said, now you have just that much more share. Eventually, it's going to come out. You're just going to have just more shares, just free more shares, and those shares are going to pay out on the next quarter. So you can see how important this can be, because if you have money in your savings account or you put cash in under your mattress, that's how much you're going to have. With inflation, it doesn't mean jack. If you're remotely close to my age, you guys remember when McDonald's had the dollar menu? They called it that because everything was $1. Then they had to change to the value meal because things just naturally go up. Your cash is going to keep that same value, which is naturally going to go down. So this can help you keep up with inflation, but get a little bit ahead. Most of you guys can't think past next week, let alone your retirement or your family or anything like that. Like, you're just going to someone will take care of me, and honestly, hopefully this is your wake-up call. It's time to stop being stupid. Start thinking about the future. This actually isn't even a thought. This is just I'm going to plant this seed now, and it's going to be a tree later, right? You can take your cash out, you can have a packet of seeds, or you can plant that. Which one is going to be much better later? So when I talk about I called it a DRIP. DRIP is the dividend reinvestment program, but I talked about just the money coming in. You want that steady income. Whether it's daily, weekly. I don't know why I don't like monthly. I really don't. Monthly, it's easy because people like to slack, right? They're going to miss one payment, or they're going to, hopefully you're not missing any payments, but you're going to miss one deposit. It's going to sound like one, and it's not going to be that big of a deal, but when it's monthly, that's a whole month off. There goes just 60 days without even anything being added in there. You only have 12 total for the whole year. So I like weekly. I really like daily. Even just joking around, I had my Robinhood account, just because it was just sitting around doing nothing. They even pestered me just make it automatic. So I did. I have $10 going into Ethereum and Bitcoin every day. One day I'll just check it later and I'll be surprised. Do something like that. Do an amount you don't care about. Do the physical $5 a day Starbucks, right? Make it at home, drink some water, or just go to Starbucks anyway because it's just $5. Make something happen. Come up with an amount you're not going to miss, because you're not going to look at this account. You're not going to think, I can just pull out of here. Don't, because when you pull out, you got to pay taxes. It just won't be worth it. We're going to get to how you can use it later without pulling it out. Let's do that in a different video, because you've probably heard how much Elon's worth, or Jeff Bezos. Maybe you haven't heard that they make $60,000 a year. That's their payout. But they live off shares. Now, they don't cash Elon cashed some shares in to pay taxes. So someone's going to be in the comments about that. But they don't largely do that. They actually borrow against their shares, which is a loan. It's not an income, so there's no taxes. It's actually a loan. They'll pay it back with their $60,000 a year. But that's how they buy things. So eventually, your account will be big enough. You'll have enough shares. I pretty much just spelled it all out. You won't need to pull out of it. I'll explain it in more detail later. Why don't you just focus on getting the account first? Anyway, let's talk about these ETFs. SPY, the top 500. Okay, now the next one, I think this one actually is the most popular. It's QQQ. Now this is the top 100, but it's it's innovation. So tech stuff. So the top ones in this, the top 3 are Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon. So you'll see this move a lot with those. This one's going to be a little bit more volatile, but I think a lot of people like it because those companies are some powerhouses. They're on the throne. They're going to stay on the throne for a while. Now, one problem with a tech company and you picking individual tech stocks, you're going to pick something like Netflix. Netflix was a powerhouse. It laughed at Blockbuster for not buying it, right? Put Blockbuster out of business, and it sat on the throne. And right now, it's kind of being dethroned. It's kind of being watered down. While I don't think Netflix is going anywhere, the stock just isn't the powerhouse it used to be. When you're sitting on the throne, someone's constantly looking to dethrone you. The cool thing about tech is that one that dethrones the other company probably going to be in queues, and it's probably just going to jump right up there with it. So while it's dethroned, the individual stock picker gets smoked because he put all his money in Netflix, while the other guy was just bought Q's, and what got added to QQQ, the investment, the little Easter basket, was the next year's model. It's the next come up. So while one's getting dethroned, the other one gets replaced. All that person sees is a new king and more money. So that's why investing something like this is actually quite a bit safer for the average person that just doesn't know anything, that doesn't know how to look out for that, value his own stocks, recognize it's being dethroned. It's no longer a deal. It is crap. Because everything's hot when it's on the market. Then it goes on sale because it's cheap. Like, hey, we got to move some product, and then it goes on clearance. No one wants it. And if, as an individual stock picker, if you can't tell the difference between sale and clearance, you're likely going to keep buying a whole bunch of crap. By the time you find out it's clearance, it'll be too late. So if you like more of this is going to come with its own volatility. If I were to, so we're going to talk about SPY, QQQ, and IWM. Of those three, this one's going to move the fastest. Now, I didn't tell you up or down. I told you the fastest up and the fastest down. SPY is going to be right there in that medium. Now, when we're talking about, ignore these lines in there now. We're talking about buying it every day. So it doesn't matter whether it goes up or it goes down because your average cost will go up with that. The more it goes down, the more, let's say you're doing $5 a day, okay? The more it goes down, let's say you're doing $100 a day. We're gonna keep the math simple. $100 a day because you're just rich. I guess you got nothing else to buy. Now that's gonna buy a third of a share. So about every 3 days you got a share. Now let's say this thing gets smoked, beat down. The bully beat down. It's taken out behind the shed. And it drops to $100 a share. Okay, unprecedented, just wrecked. Wall Street Bets was right. Michael Burry made one more prediction. Here it is. Now your $100 is buying one share a day. So when you keep it consistent, the more it drops, the more you get to buy per the same amount. So if one thing history has shown us, it's that they go up, right? So this goes back to 2000, but you can see it's fine. The cheaper it goes, the more you have. Now we're talking about, I don't care about the next few weeks. I don't care about 2024. By the time, like we're talking, what do we need? Let's say you're planning on a vacation in 2030. Where do you think, with a chart like that, this is going to be in 2030? It could spill, and for your sake, hopefully it does, because you're not worried about taking this money out. You're worried about accumulating and getting more as you can. So hopefully by 2030, this is up higher. The more time it's spent down here, the more shares you have. So that will compound. Now this also has a dividend as well, but it's 53 cents. So every share you have of this, you get a 53-cent paycheck or a dividend reinvestment. Either way, you got some money coming to you every quarter. So that's tech. That's going to be the spicy one. So let's talk about the Russell IWM. This is small cap. Like the little brother. Don't quote me on this. Someone even said over the years this was the better performer, percentage-wise. And when it comes to small cap, stocks are priced that way for a reason. There was a reason Amazon just recently was over $3,000, and Peloton is $7 or $9, where you get what you pay for the most part. Now, when you are a small company like this, so this is this is 2,000 small cap, the smaller guys. Of those 2,000, you're in a whole broader market now. Now, if one of those takes off and pops off, it could really send things up before it were to jump up into the big leagues, if you will, if I were to paint that picture. But this one's going to be a little bit more boring as far as movement goes. As you can see here, not quite the volatility. So, again, going over these, we got the S&P, the top 500. You got the NASDAQ 100 tech. And then you got the 2,000 small cap. Now, financials are in this as well. Financials and energy are in this. So, those would be the top three. And I would, if you could, find a way to buy all three. Unless you really favored one, you have an appetite for risk, or you like tech, then I would lean towards the Qs. But the beauty of this is you don't have to, if you had $100 If it totaled out to be $100 a month, I would try to do $25 a week. I would still, you don't have to divide that 33, 33, 33. You could split this whole thing up. Like, just say, okay, I'm going to keep it pretty mild. I'm gonna toss $50. That'd be even pretty all right. Pretty mild. I was gonna say $60 into the S&P, $20 into the Qs, $20 into IWM. There's your $100. You could do $50 into SPY and 25 the other two. Probably wouldn't be a bad ratio. I would just, again, I'm not a financial advisor. You do the research because you personally are going to be the ones buying this. So I know you're going to look at your account. Some people like to. It's fun. Whether you're going to pull out money or not, don't pull it out. But, you know, where are you as a person? Do you want boring? Do you want, I want the happy medium, the Goldilocks? That'd be the S&P. Or are you going for it? Like, this is a technology world we're living in. Let's hammer out some tech, so you waited a little bit more to Qs. I would still try to find a way to buy all three. You know, let's say, like, Don, I don't care. I like what you said about Qs. Let's do it. I would still do 80 in the Qs and then 10 and 10 in the other two. Still collect the dividend. I would turn on the drip on every one of them. Again, not financial advice. This is just to give you ammo to start your journey. But you would be silly not to at least have this. Now, I don't want to be hypocritical, because I don't. I do pick my own stocks. And I have the top 5 I just named off. I have those. I like those. That's where I'm at. And you might find you like that too. Now, if one of those just gets obliterated, I stand to lose all of that, which is why Dave Ramsey doesn't like it, because let's say you pick something like Peloton. Now, this was all the rage, or all the rave, whatever that saying is. Look at this in 2021. People told you were stupid if you weren't in this thing. I just messed that up. All right. So look at this. So the end of 2019, 2020, nothing. And then they kicked the boosters. It's like everyone went for a cycling class and just sent this thing up. So we go from a low of, around $20. We'll say, 20 to $25 to $160 at a high of $168. Now, in no valuation was Peloton ever actually worth that much. That was just hype coming in. What makes it hard to do individual tickers, and why I want to show you this example, is because there was plenty of YouTubers. I liked Peloton. I have videos on Peloton, but I'm a trader. I'm taking advantage of this momentum, not the fundamentals, not any valuation, because that's laughable when it comes to a company like this. I like Peloton. I have them. I have a gym of them. Like, I really like the company, but when it comes to stocks, sorry, it's just not it. And that showed off to be right. Yeah, I'll show you another example, too, of the opposite of what can happen. So anyway, you might go out there and pick a stock like this because you think you want to be the individual. You've heard Dave Ramsey's warning. You even heard mine. Be like, you know what, maybe I do want to pick my own stocks. You're going to find a YouTuber out there. You're not going to know if he's crap or not. Now, they're all going to sound convincing. Why would he come out and say I suck? Everyone's in the business of saying how good they are so they can sell you something. That's also why I suck at selling things, because I just feel cringy when I mention that I do have a course. But my course is more for trading anyway, so you wouldn't even need it for this talk. Anyway, they're all going to have a story as to why their stock picks are the best. They're biased to themselves. They think they know what they're talking about. And they probably, I'm going to go out and say it, I'd rather just be wrong if the right guy did show up. I bet they don't know what they're talking about. Flat out. Like, there's a couple out there that I know do. But most don't. The couple I know, that they're still traders anyway, because they can see the movements. But look, long story short, you find a YouTuber. He sounds good. He sounds convincing. You're not gullible. You just don't know what you don't know. You listen to him. You buy this. You start dollar cost averaging, which means you had one share here. You had one share here, and on the way up, you finally get to the peak. Now, you don't know this is the peak yet, but you go from 1 share to 100 shares. Your average is somewhere up here in the middle. Now, you got to take advantage of the growth of 1 share, 2 shares, 4 shares, 8 shares, 16, so on and so forth, to 100. You're thinking, I got this. I don't know why I wasn't in this sooner. This is amazing. I should have skipped college. Instead of student loans, I should have just bought everything, all this in the stock. I'm a genius. You're probably thinking I should buy a webcam and make YouTube videos. A lot of them took that route. A lot of them are going away now because then this happens. It goes down. Now, not only will this completely mess you up, you watch the growth from 1 share to 100 shares and how much that meant. But you do not know the psychological effects that's going to happen when you watch 100 shares go down from this. You will go from slow growth to off the balcony. Because that 100 shares you'll ride down, that daily movement will be 1,000,000 times worse. Now you're going to get emotional. You're making decisions you shouldn't. You have anxiety. It's just going to spin you into a world you're probably not ready for, which is why I agree with Dave Ramsey's warning of just buy the ETF. Because when a company like this gets smoked, it doesn't meet the parameters of some of these, and they're kicked out. They get the boot. We're looking for the top 500, not what was the top 500, but we're just going to keep you anyway. There's no participation trophies. They got to perform to stay in. So it keeps you out of getting into a disaster like this. Now, there's always 2 sides to every story. There's 2 sides to every coin. What is it? It's a solar ETF. One that I talked about on this channel and one that I was in heavy. And it was amazing, right? So I bought this one, and not only was I even told my following, if you're new to this channel, everyone's congratulating me. They're loving it. Like, to some people, I'm like the best one ever because this is like the one ticker they listen to, and they made a whole bunch of money. And I even said I'm not that right. And even as a trader, you probably won't be able to recognize this. Go back to some of my videos. I talked about tanks. I thought the energy sector. I think solar, it was way undervalued. People just aren't seeing what solar is going to do. So I was in TAN. It's a solar ETF. My Easter basket has a bunch of solar panels inside. So I'm buying this, and it just knows nothing but green days. And it keeps going. Now, the reason I told everybody, like, I'm not that right, don't die on this hill. Like, this isn't the last one you need to be in. So a lot of people that are following me, they were able to get out. Now, it's taking the beat down. It's actually one I'm about to get back in, not one I recommend for everybody. Again, if you're watching this, hey, I'm starting in investing. Again, that is SPY, QQQ, IWM. That's it. Now, SPY or VOO. Hang on, let's check VO real quick. Let's get that crap out of here. If anyone ever has those indicators up and tries to sell you a course, move on. I can tell you right now, they're not profitable. From a mile away. No questions asked. $1.43. Let's buy $1.58. $1.58. So the dividend's higher. So 413 versus. So actually about the same. Man, I have to. You know what? For you, I would. Don't worry about my opinion. VOO, QQQ, IWM, because you'll be able to accumulate shares faster, just that little edge faster. This would be a better one to have overall. All right. So anyway, let's wrap this up. I don't want you guys taking in too much information. Just eyes glossed over. You just spin it. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. Get your finances straight. Just for one moment in your life, sit down at a table. Bills, income. How much you have going in, how much you have going out. How much of that going out, that's where you run it over with the fine-tooth comb. Do you actually need that? And if it's like a shirt in your closet you haven't touched in 2 years, you don't need it. I promise. Lose it. You have no emotional value to stuff like this. This world is obsessed with money, and you need it. You're never getting anywhere. You'll never get out of the class you're in if you're jacking around with crap like that. Lose it. Take that same amount, put it into some form of automation so you don't ever have to see it. You don't care. Try not to look at this at all. Figure out where you are as a person. Maybe right now you're just going to do 33, 33, 33, and that's it. And later on, as you get the hang of it and you've seen a few deposits show up and you kind of get in the groove, you do some research, you talk to advisors, you get everyone's opinion, take it all with a grain of salt. Maybe then decide, I want a little bit more tech in my life. So you adjust the input a little bit, and just go that route. So again, right now, to kick this off, do your budget, lose some crap, put that into this. And if you want to just, kickstart this thing, if you get a bonus at work, that's money that was not in the books. It's a bonus It's called a bonus for a reason. Treat it as such. Your bills are not paid off your bonuses. They're paid off your paycheck. When that bonus comes in, I know a lot of you guys just want those endorphins. You want to go buy some crap. You want to do something. Like, it's just crap. You're going to chalk it up to, I want to do experiences. That's fine. I think you should. But you're trading that experience for a possible bigger. How much did that experience cost you? Let's just say you're going to go on a vacation. You deserve it because you went to work. Good job. Like, where everyone's entitled these days. Let's say it's a $2,500 bonus. That's 10 shares right here. Or you went to a small vacation. You got to stay in a hotel for 5 days. You probably annoyed everyone on Snapchat and Instagram because your story is 4,700 pages long. You didn't actually enjoy your vacation. You weren't even on it. You were staring at the whole thing through your phone, taking pictures for everyone else to see. In fact, what you should do, stay home, buy 10 shares of this, and just look at someone else's Snapchat or Instagram stories. And just don't tap through it like they don't think you're doing. Just watch it, pretend you're there. Same thing. So you're going to spend $2,500 and you have some memories. You're going to spend $2,500, have 10 shares of this, start collecting that dividend. So by the end of the year, you've got the growth, you've got the dividend. Your $2,500 is not $2,500 anymore. It's actually more. So whether you want to go just, what's Dave Ramsey say, beans and rice, you don't have to go that crazy. The idea here is to live how you want to live, trim some fat, but put that fat, we're just going to reallocate it into this. Your lifestyle won't change. Your current lifestyle won't change. Your future lifestyle, your kids, your generational wealth, it does. Last piece of information, if you made it this far, is if you want to ensure you're never going to take that money out, look into Roth IRAs. Look into an IRA. You need to have some form of like that anyway, but there's tax advantages to that. This video is just to get you on that path. Do something in here. But if you really want to ensure retirement, start maxing that out first. Maybe I should have led with that comment. But some people like the flexibility of they have this. If there ever is an emergency, they do have access to the money. I advise you don't, because again, vacation or not, that's thousands that could have grown versus thousands that disappeared. So I'll wrap it up here. Share this. If you know someone that doesn't have just a dime invested, share this video with them and then quiz them at the end so they can't just say that they watched it. Ask them a question about something I said, because this is something I encourage everyone. This is the basics. It's not taught in school. That's a whole other video. This is something I'm actually very passionate about. You need to have something in the books, or you're just asking for it later. Anyway, use this. Hopefully this starts your journey off down the right path. If you want my opinion on like another YouTuber or something like that, if I know about it, I'll give you my opinion. But I encourage you, if you're hearing this, just start doing the legwork. It's not hard. You have access to markets and information like you wouldn't believe. You have a supercomputer that you call a phone. Just start using it. Get off TikTok, right? Don't take any financial advice on TikTok. I even have a TikTok. Don't get on it. Use that. Your phone is a bill every month, but you could turn that into a source of income. It's time to make the switch. Anyway, I'll wrap it up here. It's been long enough. I will see you guys in the next video.